Hey there, it's Dr. Fee Enkelman, and I help busy professional women overcome burnout, reconnect with themselves, and find bliss. For them, that looks like health, healing, vitality, deepening connection with their loved ones, and taking their career to the next level. So today I'm having a deep conversation about burnout, and it's important. And the reason is because more than 1 in 2 of us are feeling burnt out. And yes, COVID has had an impact with that, with rates increasing between 9 to 11%, depending on the study that you look at, since pre-COVID times. And there's no confusion about that. Of course, it's been a time of uncertainty. We've all been feeling the pressure, especially going into lockdown and having to handle not just our usual tasks, but in the context of homeschooling and all the other roles and hats that we wear. So a little bit about me, and you'll find that I'll often be talking about women in burnout because that's my passion. You know, for more than 15 years, I worked as a medical doctor, and at least 10 of those were spent doing more holistic and integrative work where, my passion was really looking at more of a nutritional, biochemical, or a holistic mind, body, spiritual, and energetic basis for health. A couple of years ago, I stepped away from medicine because really my heart and my soul was yearning to help women in a different, more impactful way. And since then, I've been working as a transformation coach, helping professional women overcome burnout and find their bliss. And it's a job that really lights me up. And it's such a pleasure to be here with you today and talk to you about burnout. So here's the thing. Burnout has been a term that was coined in the 1970s. And it's something that as a medical doctor and many physicians would have witnessed, as our clients presented, and yet really struggled to understand, the depth of it, the severity of it, how to prevent it, how to treat it in a really deep and meaningful way. A couple of years ago, 2019, WHO, so the World Health Organization, did, release a statement about burnout, recognizing it as a syndrome due to chronic excessive workload, workplace stress that led to 3 main factors. Now, the first is that of like a depletion, an exhaustion, a tiredness that comes in. The second is where your relationship shifts with your work and it becomes you become more depersonalized, meaning you couldn't really give a darn. And for healers and healthcare provision providers like I have been, when I experienced burnout, I was working in emergency, that shows up in a way like empathy fatigue. And it's a topic that I've spoken about before, so check that out. And we'll be speaking about more in the future, of course. And then the third is that of decreased efficiency in the workplace. So you become less productive. However, and look, when I first came across that, I was very excited, and then really, rather than it being acknowledged about as a medical diagnosis, WHO came through and said, well, it's an occupational phenomenon. And here's why this is a little bit confusing, because burnout isn't seen just in people who work. It's also seen in carers and stay-at-home mums. And so there's a large proportion of the population who get, a lack of acknowledgement for the same phenomenon that happens in them. And also what's really missing with this is how this state, burnout, or what contributes to burnout, which is that chronic survival state, chronic stress state, actually has an impact on your physical health and other medical diagnoses. And that's kind of this feeling of simplifying and compartmentalizing and reducing it that takes it out of context to the whole and how we are. And look, honestly, our health really is interrelated to our roles, how I am as a mum, how I am as a boss and a businesswoman, and how I am as a doctor or as a healer. And so, and how I am in the community and how I see myself and how I experience life. It's all very interconnected with health. And again, when we start to define things in a very simple way, we do miss out in seeing perspective and from that, solutions. So I guess really what I wanted to start off with is a discussion about how burnout might show up. Because I know for some of you who are tuning in, it might be, is this burnout? Am I in burnout? Or for some of you might be feeling very stuck in burnout and feeling quite alone and unsupported in that, thinking that, it's just me, comparing yourself to other people. And well, now you know that statistics are saying if you look around, 1 in 2 are probably feeling much the same. So for those of you who are wondering, well, how does it show up? What would it look like? Well, yeah, there is certainly a sense of depletion. And many of our clients talk about feeling exhausted. It might be that sense of waking up, feeling unrefreshed, no matter how much sleep you have, or noticing that there is a pattern of disturbed sleep, where there's a difficulty to get to sleep or frequent waking throughout the night. It's kind of like, I'm still switched on. And this is a state that I often refer to as wired but tired. And that can be a really frustrating place to be in, because all you want to do is sleep to rest and restore, but it's like your brain is still switched on and you just can't actually get that restful sleep. That exhaustion can be accompanied with a lot of energy crashes. Now, you might see that throughout the day, whether it's late morning or after lunch. And, we normally will have energy dips throughout the day based on our sleep-wake cycle or our cortisol cycle. And basically what happens for a lot of women in burnout is that might get some sugar cravings. Your body might respond like, I need to eat to get more energy, more fuel. I feel a level of depletion here. But with it, have notice less cognition, like some cognitive difficulties, memory, focus, attention, inability to be as productive, and also just that hardship, that struggle, that grind to do the things I used to do. It just takes a lot more effort. And with it, noticing that there can be procrastination, and because there's that lack of clarity in thinking, indecisiveness, and that flows into, well, I'm not as confident, I have to double check, and there's a lot more exertion in that, a wasting of energy, because you're having to do things triple check, double check, and your to-do list, it's just forever, and never quite getting through it, and it spills out into your personal time. And then for some, there's that real dragging themselves through the day, getting home and, not being as present, still feeling tied up with work, feeling, I guess, that sense of worry and anxiety can come in, and, really feeling a level of flatness, that there's less energy in a state of depletion. Don't necessarily get that zing or that spark or that enjoyment out of life, out of the time with your loved ones. You can start to notice this sense of, I just don't have enough to give them. And it can be a sense of not wanting to be present with your kids at bedtime. It's like, actually, I have little to give, or with your partner, and the sense of intimacy and, the desire for libido, the desire for that physical intimacy may be curbed, because obviously you have little left to give. So there's a lot now. It's not just physical symptoms of exhaustion. For our clients, they can have a wide spread of symptoms. And the reason is because in a chronic state of survival, your body is really focused on, surviving. So blood is, directed to your muscles for fight, flight, and to our brain, and it's focused on looking for the threat out there. It's away from digestion. It's away from restoration and healing. That's that sort of away from, what is required for procreation, because right now what the body is really most tuned into is survival. There's a threat. The problem is, of course, those threats are seemingly, generally they're pretty benign. It's not like we are actually getting chased by a saber-toothed tiger. It's the emails, it's the workplace, it's our to-do list, it's the perceived pressures. Now, this is the thing when we're talking about stress. And look, there's been studies that have looked at, does stress contribute to physical disease and illness, and some that have shown no. Look, when we've looked at individuals who have experienced divorce or experienced a loss of a loved one, see, it doesn't, there's no correlation or causation there in terms of triggering a disease process. But here's the thing. It's not necessarily about a stressful event, but how one perceives the stress that makes the difference. Because two individuals can go through a stressful event like a divorce. One may thrive and flourish and put that behind me and I'm ready for the world. And the other experience deep grief, feel stuck, feel powerless for 5, 10, 15 years and be caught in a state of abandonment and rejection and hurt and grief and pain. So perception and our experience of a stressful event is different. And that's what I want you all to understand, is that when we're talking about stress, I'm talking about how we perceive, feel, embody, experience stress physiologically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, energetically, on many different layers. So it becomes a richer conversation in my mind. So basically, as you can understand, when we're in the state of chronic fight flight, things like our immune system will get impacted. You might get frequent colds. You might find that when you do get sick, it's hard to bounce back. Hormonally, we get affected, of course, because all of our hormones speak together. And what you might notice is that your libido goes off. You might notice a change in your cycle with terrible PMS, which is that, moodiness, irritability, or teariness that happens prior to your cycle. Or you might notice that your bleeding becomes irregular or heavy or painful, and that can be disruptive to life. Then you might notice also things around relating to your thyroid, so weight gain and a sluggish feeling, dry skin, intolerance to cold, or the opposite can happen too. Digestion, of course, and the reason is because the gut-brain axis is very, very intimately linked. It's a bidirectional relationship. And so a lot of women within that chronic state of fight-flight can really notice a disruption in the digestion. And that can be diarrhea or constipation, bloating, pain. So really, as you can see, that while it's not recognized by WHO, because we're looking at this as an occupational phenomenon, I want you to understand that it's not just an isolation or exhaustion by itself. There's often an accompaniment of a myriad of symptoms. The immune system I mentioned about colds, but it can also be inflammation. My body feels sore, Dr. Fee, and wake up, I feel like I'm 80 years of age, or I've got chronic unexplained pain. So if that's you, obviously there's a wide amount of symptoms and signs that can happen with that. Then the question is, well, what could be the driving factor that could be at the basis of all of these different symptoms? And just remembering our body does talk to each other, different parts, and obviously if we're in a state of push and drive and stress, well, you're going to get a widespread, a diverse array of symptoms. And for some, it may be predominantly exhaustion. For others, it might be predominantly digestion. And I guess this conversation I want to open you up to thinking, well, what is underpinning it? And is a chronic state of survival or burnout underpinning that? Okay. So that's looking at the physical side. But of course, from a social and connection and how we interact in our relationships and the people who we love the most, it is going to get impacted. And we'd like to say, okay, well, work is work and my personal life is my personal life. It doesn't work that way. Have you noticed? And so for a lot of our clients in burnout, what they notice is shutting down and disconnecting. Some of them might find themselves pushing away their partners, not having enough energy, enough vitality to give their usual activities the same level of attention, focus, and participation. And so, they can find themselves withdrawing and not necessarily want to get out on the weekends. And, I'd prefer to sit on the couch and watch Netflix rather than go and do that exercise or catch up with a friend in the park. And for mums, it can really be a difficult time. So if you're someone who is struggling with depletion and you're noticing that you're having a short fuse and you are actually more irritable, your kids, your family are walking around on eggshells around you, or, you're just less patient. It's okay. This will help you. This conversation is to recognize often what we want to do is, I just got to stop doing it. We feel shame, and then we want to avoid that. And what happens is that we keep in the same cycle, and that's that element of sabotage. And again, stay tuned, because we have some amazing conversations between my mindset and I just about this very topic. And then, of course, what can really impact us, and this was one of the main motivators for me to take care of myself and finally get out of burnout when I was working as an emergency doctor, is the impact it can have on our career. For me, burnout presented with a real tremor, a shake, and I was a procedural doctor and took a lot of pride and value in terms of my level of skill and proficiency of doing a great job. And so it felt like my world was falling down around me when I started to suffer from severe burnout and noticing that impact on my career. What the hell would that look like if I couldn't be a critical care doctor? Oh, my goodness. So it was a very, very hard time. And for a lot of women, it's that level of performance, whether they've done their job for many, many years and they're struggling to do it, or they get stuck and just know that there is so much more. They're missing out on promotions, or they're scared to say yes because they are worried that that next level of responsibility that comes with that opportunity, can I handle it? And if I keep feeling like this, gosh, what will that mean for my health and my relationships? Work often gets the best of us. And so when in burnout, you can start to notice, I'm okay there, but I'm not okay with my health, and I'm not okay with my relationships. If I take any extra responsibility or the next level in my career, what will happen? And so we can feel very stuck and limited, or worse, we jeopardize everything that we've worked hard for. So that's a little more about burnout to help you understand how it can show up for you. So now let's have a look at, I guess, the bigger picture of burnout. And there is a lot of discussion happening about where we should be focusing our attention. Is it me, or is it actually something bigger than me? Who's to blame? And I don't think it should be a blame game at all. I totally think that there are cultural, societal, and I guess work culture factors that are at play here. For those levels to get to 1 and 2, 52 and 53% of the population feeling burnt out, truly, there is a bigger picture at play here. And I think, no doubt, there's some beautiful studies that look at the factors that contribute to burnout. And this could be an unhelpful or unsupportive boss, when there's those lack of communication, lack of value. There's a lot of factors that can really trigger and be that precipitating effect that can really destabilize someone, an individual, and then lead you into that spiral into burnout. And while I honor that this is a time where we get to call forward better leaders, a time to shake up how we see productivity and the pressures that we're putting on each other. It's crazy to imagine if we showed ourselves 40 years ago what technology can do these days, what is available to us in terms of supporting us with productivity and communication. I mean, we would just been blown away going, gosh, that's going to make life easy. Oh my gosh, we're heading towards like nirvana. This is amazing. Yet, really, I'm just thinking of that meme where what it means is that we have multiple computer screens and we're multitasking, and, we're drinking more coffee, eating more sugar, biohacking, and, doing all those things so that we can be more productive and get more done. And we're yeah, we're missing out. So here's the thing that I find: if we just focus on actually, it's not us and it's purely solely, our culture and societal pressures and, the environment and the workplace, then honestly, what does that mean for us in our process of healing? Do we just wait until that paradigm catches up and we get more balance and realistic expectations? That can be a real slow process. And if we have the conversation solely about that, to me, it feels disheartening. It feels disempowering. It feels like a nightmare, a prison, because we know change is slow. And also, I truly believe that we have the power to influence that. If we take steps to look after ourselves, to get out of burnout in a place of bliss and vitality and strength and empowerment, we can be the force of change. And that change happens within the system. And otherwise, it's just going to take ages for policymakers and politicians and government and all of that to actually do something about it. And so that's why my focus, while I'm celebrating those leaders who are really pushing for, change to happen on that systemic organizational level, hell yeah, absolutely. I also think it needs to be balanced with what is it that we can do ourselves on an individual level. What are the factors that have contributed to me to get burnt out in the first place? That is where my passion, and that's where my passion lies, and that is where our focus lies when we're helping our clients resolve burnout and truly go from a place of surviving to flourishing and thriving and saying yes and being the change makers. Now, what I wanted to really highlight before we look at that is that, some who are putting forward that our focus really should be on here. And look, I want you to understand, I'm not using this as a weapon saying, oh, it's not them, it's you. This is not to be used as a weapon against us. This is to be used in a way that is empowering. Because like I said before, I hate feeling out of control, feeling stuck. Oh, that doesn't work well with me at all. And so being someone who was, obviously fell to burnout in a system, healthcare system. I mean, our healers, our doctors, our nurses, frontline workers, they have some of the highest rates of burnout and suicide. It's a real issue. And I do believe that there are many, many layers, systemic and organizational levels there that need to be addressed to support our beautiful healers and doctors. I truly do. And from my own personal experience, what we can do for ourselves helps that. And that's important. Now, there are studies that show if we just focus on some wellness workplace programs, that actually it doesn't work. And that's used as an argument of, well, let's not focus about me or us or what we can do on an individual basis, but solely focus on the systemic and organizational levels. And I just wanted to highlight some errors or some limited thinking with that, because these programs that were a couple of studies I looked at it, I agree. I look at it and I go, well, that's not going to work, Here's the thing with burnout here. Women do let go of prioritizing themselves and find themselves stuck in sabotage and procrastination and not looking after themselves, not exercising, not eating healthy, staying up late, just, not prioritizing the basic things. And it's not because they don't know it's not important. There are deeper patterns at play that stop them from prioritizing themselves. They rely on willpower. And willpower is in a very, very small supply, especially when you're burnt out. If you're tired, stressed out, or out of routine, how's your willpower going? That's motherhood. That's those first stages of motherhood for me. And it's like on the couch, watching Netflix, eating dark chocolate, right? Just to get through. And so we focus more and more on willpower. Oh, I just have to exercise. I just got to look after myself better. But actually, you know what? that's really going to lead you into an all or nothing. This is where we're good until we're not, because some new stress happens or something out of my control comes and it takes me away, and I'm back into that negative spiral again, where I'm depleted and I couldn't be bothered and I'm procrastinating and I know I should. And now I feel guilty and I feel shame. I'm so disappointed in myself. I'm so frustrated. Why am I here again? And it just spirals and snowballs. And so these wellness workplace programs that they've looked at in terms of the effectiveness of actually preventing people from burnout, getting them out first of all, and keeping them out, haven't been that effective. They have had some soft markers of improvement in exercise and, focus on weight loss. However, long term, there's no benefit, and this is at 18 months, no benefits between the treatment group and the control group. And I'm not surprised, because really when you look at what was involved in those workplace wellness programs, it is more information, accountability is wonderful, but it's focusing on, okay, let's together focus on doing exercise, and let's focus on eating healthy and getting dietitian support. Honestly, our clients, it's not that they need any more information. They know how to eat healthy. They know exercise is wonderful. They know that they should be getting off Netflix and Facebook and Instagram and getting themselves to bed earlier. They know all of this, yet they either find themselves working hard, working on, doing work late at night, not getting to bed early. They find themselves sabotaging themselves, these patterns that are leading them to depletion, the procrastination that making things worse, those patterns of giving so much to everyone else to a point of depletion and feeling broken. Now we're starting to have a richer conversation. Why? What is that about? And if we can solve that, in my mind, and what my clients prove to me every single day, that is how we get women out of burnout, close the door to that, and ensure that they stay in a place of balance and harmony and good health and looking after themselves, ongoing, sustainable changes. So I wanted to just mention that because, there's research out there that says, we shouldn't be, it's not about focusing on individual factors or intrinsic factors, it's external. And I'm saying, no, it's both. And what I want to share with you and open your mind up to is obviously, well, what does that mean and how does that look like? And that is what this, that's why I'm doing these lives, to really help you to shift your focus on thinking about what is most important, because you've got limited energy. What is most important and truly to help you to get out of burnout? And I'm definitely in favor of doing yoga and seeing a healer and, going for walks in nature. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, again, I feel like there are deeper things at play, programs, patterns, beliefs, consciousness that truly is ready for us to address, to truly resolve burnout. And I love Ram Dass's quote, which is, everything in our life is there for our transformation. Use it. And that includes burnout. What if our experience of burnout was really there to serve us in a more meaningful way, so that we can live in a way that is truly aligned with our values and our priorities? And that, yes, there are workplace, societal, cultural factors that influence that. And perhaps us feeling the way of depletion and exhaustion and all of that is our way of waking up and saying, enough. What I want for me, what's most important for me, what are my needs? How do I meet my needs in a more powerful way? Perhaps this is an opportunity for that. And in my personal experience, and when I witness our clients wake up and getting out of burnout to claim their bliss, I see this. There's this beautiful opportunity that happens, that they truly claim their own power. And in turn, that is how they get to live life for the next 10, 20, 30 years in a way of determining what is it that I want and what do I want to co-create in my life. So guys, it's been a rich discussion, and I really hope that this has helped you to look at burnout in a different way. And really, where I want to take you guys on is this journey of asking some deeper questions. And these deeper questions as well, what could be at play here? This chronic state of survival, is this really being addressed when I am focusing on self-care? For a lot of my clients, when they come to see us first time round, they've tried almost everything. They're in a very strict routine and structure because they feel like that's what's best for them to actually get their health back, but they feel burdened by it. It's another thing. Going to yoga, it's another thing. Going to the gym, it's another thing. It's another thing that if I don't do it, my goodness, there's pressure and guilt that can come into that. And as you start to wake up through these sessions that I'm running for you, is that actually that state of survival and another thing actually makes us more sick. And so often I'll talk about, well, what are your priorities? So if you are someone who is experiencing burnout right now, what do you truly want? Rather than burnout and exhaustion and that extent of symptoms that I went through before and how people experience it, what do you truly want? What are you truly seeking? Is it vitality? Is it a sense of calm and presence? Is it a sense of feeling lit up again? Is it joy? Or is it peace? What if right now was your greatest opportunity, this very moment, to stop and reflect on what is it that I truly want? If not burnt out, if not giving my energy to everything else to a point of depletion, if not exhaustion, if not feeling like I'm on that treadmill, if not the struggle, if not the survival, what do you want? And define it. What most important to me is peace. And if that's yours, that's my most important thing, then really asking the question, well, what's self-care, or what is it that I could do to truly support peace? And if you haven't watched my webinar yet, then I recommend that you do. I share in that my story that, for many years, I was focusing on self-care like another thing to do. And it was great from that perspective that I got to tick that list. I've got that dopamine hit. I tick that list and boom, boom, boom. Yeah, I feel good. I've ticked that list off. Next, quick, let's go. And what I was finding is that I had my days full with stuff, and I was going to the gym, and then I was doing meditation, and then I was rushing here and getting to work and dropping my kids off. And when I actually stopped and asked myself, what is the thing that I truly want? There was freedom, there was peace, there was a sense of spaciousness. What was wonderful about that is I got to look at my life and go, well, how is what I am choosing to invest my energy actually matching that? Especially from a self-care point of view. And what I decided, and I made that decision, you know what, right now in my life, rather than rushing and doing something that I should do, like yoga 3 times a week, like going to the gym 3 times a week, very committed to my health I actually stopped and went, no, I'm going to align myself with my priority right now, which is spaciousness and freedom and peace. So I'm going to have a slow breakfast with my family. I'm going to have that moment to enjoy a cup of tea. And my goodness, something so simple as that had such a profound effect. And guys, I invite you, for you, what is something that you truly, what is your priority? How do you truly want to feel? And if there was something that you could decide, believe, appreciate, anchor, or choose, what would that be? All right, guys. So here we are. We're kicking things off. This is going to be a fun journey where I'm looking forward to bringing in my beautiful naturopath and functional medicine practitioner, Lucy, to join in with some of the shares, and also my mindset coach, Dr. Jagatambe Narayani, in future sessions, so that we can have a lot of fun and give you guys a lot of support to really wake you up to what is burnout, look at burnout from the inside and out, to truly get a better appreciation of what might be at play for you, to help you with that, to really help you to focus on what's really important here. What are the patterns? What are the reasons? What are the drivers for me to be stuck in burnout right now, so that you can focus on them and get from burnout to healing, to get from burnout to vitality, to get from burnout to bliss. And to do it in a way that really helps you to look at life in a very holistic way, and help you to appreciate that when we look after ourselves, when we prioritize ourselves, when we fill our cup, then we have more to give our family, our career, our projects, our community. And that's joy. That's how we get to be the change makers in life. And you get to shine, because here's the truth. You have a calling. We all do. It's a yearning to do great things within, and let's look after ourselves, get our health back, get out of burnout to bliss, so that we can be that in the world together and help each other and walk each other home. So from my heart, guys, I hope that's been helpful. Please like, comment, share. And if you are at that place where you're, you know what, I really want to resolve this in a deep and meaningful way, and I am ready to totally transform inside and out, and get the support and the accountability and the love to do that, then reach out to my team, and they'll have an amazing, powerful, life-changing conversation with you. And even that conversation will be where a seed is planted that can help shift the trajectory of your life towards your bliss. And that's my prayer for you, and many, many blessings, guys. Here's to you finding your bliss, and have an amazing day. And thanks so much. Big love. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. If you want to subscribe, just click on my head beneath this so that you can subscribe to the channel. And if you would like to book a call with our amazing team to have that life-changing conversation, then click on the button beneath this that says book a call, or you can go to our website, which is findingbliss.com.au/apply, and make sure that you fill in that application form so that we know a little bit about you. We can better prepare for the session and serve you in a more meaningful way. Awesome. Stay tuned, and I look forward to seeing you on the next show. Bye-bye.